you do to do like, did you get in the book today? I did, and then you're like, oh shoot, I gotta do that. So,
Right.
I think having said that though, making sure that group of people is a good group of people, because if you get caught up in the wrong group of people and they're not going to church and they're not doing the things that they should be doing, you're gonna fall down that same path.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Living Limitless. And today we got a special guest, our model, Kennedy. So she's with us because she's in college, and we're going to talk about the difficulties of keeping your faith when you leave home. So basically, I know, like, I'm graduated. I'm a big kid now. I've been out of college for what, 3 years now? This will be my third.
Yeah.
Three. This will be my third year out of college, and I know that I experienced a hard time, like keeping, like staying devoted, like how I was when I was at home. I don't know. What do you think? Was it a hard time? Is this your second year, or you were at college?
This is my second year.
Oh, okay. So, did you live on campus your first year?
Yeah, and I'm still on campus this year.
How'd you like it?
I liked it a lot.
It's like
Yes.
leave home.
Yep,
Like,
yep.
I'm on my own.
It was fun.
Did you find it hard? Like, did you find it hard? Like, in the, or, like, I don't know. For me, it was like, I also played sports, so I was like, basketball, class, study, boom, and that was like the routine. So it was like really hard for me to get a, like, it was a terrible excuse to say that I'm too busy for God, but like, that's what I used. And I didn't make it a priority like I did when I was in high school. Like, when I was in high school, I went to church every Sunday, and
Well, I think that's where it can go wrong a lot of times, because when you go to those new areas and stuff, not a lot of people take the time or know anywhere to find a church. That's
Yeah.
where it starts, because a lot of kids, when they first come, because we have Grand Valley up the road from our church, even though they know they're up the road from a church, they still don't. They don't still take the time to go to it and see how they like it and stuff, because a lot of people can be shy at first. But
yeah, I mean, it is scary, approaching a new church, because when I finally did, like, because I was like, I need to go, I need some Jesus.
Yeah.
I need to go to church. I just walked into one that was close by, and it happened to be that it was a good church, because we also talked about on this channel before how some churches, like, aren't really preaching the gospel, and so you can walk into a bad church and like from there be like done with
right.
Christianity, you know what I mean? Because you had a bad experience with church. But do you still attend the same church then?
Yeah, so I'm kind of lucky because my church, I grew up around here, and my church is right around the corner from my college, so I can still like attend my same church, which is really nice. On campus though, we have like a couple different options, like just to like worship with other like kids on campus, and those have been like very helpful, and like just like the groups and friends that we've met there have been like super supportive about like knowing that it is difficult to still go to church, knowing that it is difficult to still live your faith out like through your college life, and know that people do get busy, and sometimes you don't always feel like going to church or going to those things on campus that keep you connected and keep you growing in your faith. So I think like the biggest thing like that I've learned is connecting with people who might be struggling with the same things, or might be feeling the same things, or want to go to the campus ministries with you, or want to go to church with you, or find people that you can invite to church so you have someone to keep you accountable for doing those things.
That is a great point. That is a great point, because I feel like, yes, if you're not surrounding yourself with like the same like mind as you will fall into that stuff.
Yeah.
Especially because college is like, all right, let's be real. College is like a total like party scene when you enter, especially when you like when you first leave from home. It's just like, I'm in college.
Yeah.
Like, what's up? Like you're finally like, you're considered an adult now, and you're doing your own thing, and it's like no one's there telling you, hey, wake up, go to church.
Yeah.
Like, so I think it's like really, really interesting how it could just suddenly like drop off like that. It's like, I don't know, it's like, it's almost scary, like the amount of decline that happens with the faith of college students just because they leave from home.
Yeah.
And it's like, are we not doing a good job of equipping them beforehand? You know what I mean? Like, what do you think is the cause for that?
I think people come up with excuses very easily.
Yeah.
Especially like in college. So like I'm guilty of this as well. But like I'll go throughout the week like not getting a lot of sleep, and then Saturday night comes around and I'm like, oh, Sunday morning I can sleep
I
in.
can
Like
sleep in.
Yeah.
I'm sleeping. I don't have to go to church. Like my family's not gonna make me go to church. Like my friends might not go to
Yeah.
church that day. You know. So like that's just one excuse. But I think now that you're on your own and you're not having your family or whoever you go to church with keeping you accountable to like do those things, you can kind of come up with little excuses here and there, like, oh, I don't have to go to this because I have to study. Oh, I don't have to go to this because I'm tired. Oh, I don't have to go to this, I have sports. I have whatever else it is. Like, I think excuses are very common. I mean, we're all sinful.
Yeah.
Everyone does it, but I think especially in college kids, we just come up with those little excuses to not have to make yourself more busy than you already are.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. And I think we touched on it a little bit, talking about like the people you surround yourself with. Like, you will do things if your friends do them, like all the time. Like that's just how it is. I remember we had a late night Saturday, and I was like, it's literally 2 in the morning, and I'm like, hey, I'm going to church still, talking to my teammate, and she was like, all right, I'm coming too. And you know, when that alarm went off, it was just like, oh. And I still got up. I got up, and then I heard her get up. But then when we were in the car on the way to church, she was like, if I didn't hear you move, I wasn't going.
Yeah.
So like we will do, it's all about that accountability. We will do what our friends will do, regardless if we want to do it or not. Like
I think that's with anything though, because we had first priority at Grand Haven, and like not a lot of kids went to it at first. But then once I heard about it, I was like, oh, I'm going now.
Yeah.
And then Kellen was like, where do you go on like Wednesdays? Like you don't show up at the lunchroom or nothing. And I was like, oh, I go to first priority. I was like, you guys should come. They're like, yeah, we'll think about it. I got Malik to go first. And then once me and Malik started going, Kellen was like, everybody disappeared on Wednesdays. I'm going. So then our whole lunch table ended up going. It was like a bunch of us. And then we ended up getting like the next table over to us, which was some of Maddie's friends and like all of our other friends. So they were like, yeah, we'll come too. So we had like a huge group at first priority. And like after we would finish the lesson, there'd be like 30 kids there. And they're like, what are we supposed to do? So we ended up playing games and stuff. It was fun.
That's cool.
Yeah, first priority was fun. So that was, I think having a group of people to do something with is good in any situation though, because then when you surround yourself in that situation, it's like people are holding you accountable.
Right.
It's like, hey, what did you do to do like, did you get in the book today? I did, and then you're like, oh shoot, I gotta do that. So,
Right.
I think having said that though, making sure that group of people is a good group of people, because if you get caught up in
Yes.
the wrong group of people and they're not going to church and they're not doing the things that they should be doing, you're gonna fall down that same path and you're gonna end up doing the same things. So I think making sure that group, like prioritizing that group is a good group is very important as well.
Yeah. Did you ever experience friends that weren't like religious like you or thought the same way as you?
I have friends who like aren't religious in the same way that I am, but they're not my core group of friends. I have a core group of friends, and they keep me accountable for the things I should be accountable for. They go to church with me, or they go to worship nights on campus with me. They're a very solid group of friends, and I'm very thankful I met them. But outside of that friend group, I do have friends here and there who aren't religious, who aren't doing the greatest things, who don't go to church, you know. And I think it's important that I don't get caught up in the things that they do, but I think it's also important that I try and have an influence on them. And that can be hard sometimes, but I don't know, keeping them at a safe distance away to still have an influence in their life and still be a part of their life without getting caught up in their life, I think that's important.
Yeah, for sure. And I know his friendship is very unique. So you want to talk about that? That's pretty.
Yeah, so
it's
mine's
pretty
kind of like almost the opposite.
Okay.
It's like I have a very close friend, and he's not a believer. So I think it's good though, because I don't want to say like I'm very strong in my faith, but like I have my family around me that also keep me accountable too. Like my sister is in the book every day. She reads all these books to keep her in the faith, and it's good for me though, because I see that and I'm like, all right, cool. I need to keep up what I'm doing. And my mom goes to church every Sunday. She's in the book all the time. So it's good that I have my family around me, because then I can go to my friend and I like try to influence him a lot. Like we hang out all the time whenever we can. We talk all the time. I bring him to, my sister has Tough Stuff for the youth group that she leads, so I bring him all the time. He tags along
He's
pretty
like,
much to everything
everyone.
that
He only missed one time.
Yeah, he
We've
missed-
been doing it for a year.
yeah, we've been doing it for a year, and he's tagged along every time. So just trying to get him to learn everything about it, and because he didn't know a lot about Christianity, all he knew was like the stuff that you hear about, like, hey, Christians don't like homosexuals and all this stuff. It's very like, it's all the stuff that you see what happens kind of on TV, or just like all the stuff that kind of points Christians as a negative thing. So when he started going to First Priority and stuff, you could tell he started to change and like get it. It's not like, oh yeah, we know that they're sinning, but it's like, hey, we still love these people.
Yeah.
So it's like, so it's good to have. I think it's funny because I was always taught in church or youth group to like not always surround yourself in the church. It's like to go out and range and find people. So it was funny. I think I did too much of it, and I was just like, hey, you, I got you. Like, I'm trying to save everybody up in here. Keep them like, stay here. But yeah.
So, do you think if it's that easy for people to fall away from the faith, that they really were believers in the first place? So this is an interesting question. Because I don't say that I lost my faith. When I talk about like even in my testimony, I talked about like how, I wasn't doing the things that I used to do. I wouldn't say that I stepped away from the faith at all. Like my faith didn't change. I used to be at parties and people would like ask me a question or talk about religion, gets thrown in the air, and I'm like, okay, so what now? And then like I was and it would be a full blown party happening, and I'm over here like, look, Jesus loves you. And
See, I think that's the thing that depends on it, because you were still there for your religion. I think it just depends on the situations and stuff, because a lot of people, even though they don't go to church and stuff, they still, or keep up on their religion, they still defend it and still have conversation about it. It's not like they throw it under the bus or
Right.
anything. It's not like if someone was like, oh, I hate Christians. It's not like that person kind of bandwagons onto it just because they don't want to be alienated. Still, some people will be like, why though? Or like they'll.
do you think that a lot of
I think-
stepping away, they're afraid because
I think
the culture isn't
that
like
does
Christian?
happen a lot of times when you're at those parties or you're in those certain situations where people don't think the same as you. You're not quick enough, or you're just scared to step up for what you believe in, because it can be hard when a bunch of people ganging up on you, or like.
Have
there's
you
no
ever
one else
got
to defend you.
ridiculed at school for like being Christian, or someone like, or anywhere like someone was like?
I don't think ridicule is the right word. I don't think they're like, oh, you're a Christian. I think it's more of like, I've always been questioned about it. It's like, oh, you're a Christian, that's cool. So like, where do you stand on these subjects? It's not like, oh, you're a Christian, that's weird. It's not. I don't think, just because where I grew up at, it's just a lot of people kind of think the same in
Yeah.
a way. It's like, even though it's pretty big, a lot of people are like churchgoers and stuff, and then like you'll know the group of kids who don't believe in it, and then it's not that I didn't hang out with them, or it's just I never really talked to them that much, so I didn't really get ridiculed like that. I think the most places you get ridiculed is just like online a lot of times, or people where there's big influence. It's like I play a lot of video games, so like a lot of people will do it there, so I think not as small.
A lot of people will say a lot of stuff online.
Yeah.
How about you?
Well, I went to a Christian school like all my life, so everyone
Really?
kind of, like elementary, middle school, high school, I went through like Christian ed.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I
So
didn't know that.
yeah, like everyone had like the same beliefs, or for the most part the same beliefs. But then I guess like this isn't really a bad thing, but like I was called like the Christian girl or the super Christian girl, or like I was like, they were almost ridiculing me for being like too
Too
Christian.
Christian?
Yeah,
Yeah. And so like that sounds so stupid, but like then when you do something that's not very Christian like, or you mess up on something, they're like, oh, like you're not living up to your expectations.
Yeah.
Like, so that's not a bad thing. It's not bad to be called too Christian, but like then when you have those expectations to live up to and you fall short of that,
It's hard,
it's
yeah.
hard, you know?
No, yeah, no, I 100% understand what you're saying right there. Yeah, that'd be tough because eyes are on you, especially. And low key, I don't know how. I heard that like some schools like that, like I remember like when I was down there, we would play Unity Christian and things like those teams,
Yeah.
Calvin Christian.
Yeah.
I heard that they are crazier than like the normal public schools.
You
Like-
would be surprised.
Yeah, they were like, yes, I heard some stories about those schools, and I'm like, dang, we don't even do that at Alex.
that's crazy.
We conservative over here. I don't know what y'all doing.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I'm like, are y'all a Christian school?
Yeah.
They don't care. Yeah, so
That's crazy.
I always heard that. Like it's
Dang,
it's
I've
almost
never heard
like
that.
the preacher. You never heard about it? Like the
Never.
preacher's kid. Like
Okay,
how they're
I've heard
always,
that. Like,
the
I've always-
rebellious and
Yeah, I've always
like
heard
rebels
Oh
and
yeah.
stuff.
But I've always heard that. I've always heard that for the preacher's kid, not for the Unity Christian schools and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Rebecca went to I'm name dropping here. They don't
Dang,
know
yeah.
who it is.
Yeah. Girl, Becca went to this. Girl, what about Becca?
Yeah, she went to a Christian school and she talked about all the stuff that they would do. I'm like, yep. I guess it's no different,
Yeah.
like, than any other.
Yeah, she
It,
said.
it's not in the sense of like what the kids are doing, but it is in the sense of what the kids are learning.
Learning, yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Do you
But-
think? I don't know. Like, I'm trying to figure out why they're like, why is there a drop off when we leave from home? Like, are we not prepped enough? Are we prepped too much? Like going to a Christian school. I know those people who go to like a Christian school and they're just like, I'm sick of it, and they like when they go off to
Yeah.
college, it's just like, I'm so done. Like I know the world. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like they've been like, it's been shoved down their throat so much that's all they know, and then they want to branch out.
I think that could be some of the reason, but I know a lot of kids who like went to Christian schools. Like there was a Christian school near us, near Grand Haven, and she ended up going to another Christian college. Like she went to another Christian college, so she kept up with her faith kind of.
Right.
But like, I think a lot of those situations it happens because they aren't prepped enough in a way. Like they know a lot about the word, but they're not prepped enough to be like, hey, so when you get in this situation, you're supposed to do this. That's why I think like your youth group is really good for the girls or whoever comes because they'll know what to do in those situations. Like I don't think a lot of people know what to do in those situations because
We
they
talk practical. We talk practical.
yeah,
a lot of times. That is
we
good
do
point.
a lot of practical situations, but in church it's mostly you're kind of learning more about the word and not really what to do in those situations or what to say to an unbeliever. So I think that's where it could fall off a lot of those situations. But yeah, I don't know.
I think like I think it's like a lot like life. Like you are going from like living with your parents or your friends or whoever you live with to living on your own, and you don't know how to live on your own. You've never lived on your own. Well, in the same way, you're coming from being taught in the faith by whoever you were brought up with to trying to keep up your faith on your own. And you don't know how to do that. You've never done that. You've never had to do that. Or this is situational, I guess, not for everyone. But I think that's hard too. You don't know how to keep up your faith on your own. You don't know how to hold yourself accountable for reading the Bible or going to church, like we said, or going to those campus ministries that are supposed to help keep you accountable because you were never taught to hold yourself accountable. Or maybe you were and you just never really, you haven't caught on or you don't understand like the responsibility it entails. And so I think that's hard too. Like
That is true because with anybody that move out of the house and live on their own, they still struggle at first.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because they don't know how to do
Yeah.
it. So.
I think that's what helped us growing up, kind of though, because there came to a point where our mom like stopped making us grow. Like
Yeah.
usually,
Yeah.
like, it was like get ready, go to church, and like, but there came to a point where she just was like, I'm going to church, and like
Yeah.
it was our job
To
to
get
go with her or not. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was
She'll be like, I'm leaving in 5 minutes, and if you weren't ready in 5 minutes, you was missing out.
Yeah.
That's like,
yeah. So I think that I guess that helped me personally, like be like, okay, this is my decision to go, and I was still under the house, under like living with her,
Yeah.
so it helped me when I moved out. So yeah, so I guess one last thing I wanted to touch on. Do you think, like, I don't want to drop their name. I'm trying to say this without dropping their name. I think there's a problem because some churches and youth groups only tackle surface things. And do you understand what I'm saying? Like when I went to this one youth group when I was a kid, and we played capture the flag, and then we ate some food and didn't really. And I was like, are we gonna talk about Jesus anytime soon? Like, you know what I mean? It's all like surface, and then even like I know one of my friends, I listen to her services sometimes, and the pastor kind of tells stories the whole time, and he's telling like stories, and then he'll like kind of sort of connect it to the Bible, but then tell a story. Like it's like surface things to keep people's attention, to keep people like excited. Like, do you understand what I'm trying to say? Or not really?
I see what you're saying. It's kind of like not preaching the controversial things. Is that what you're trying to say?
It's like
Or not going deep.
Or not going
yeah,
deeper.
like not
Okay.
going deeper and fully understanding. Like
I see
their
what you're saying.
story will be the main. Like the dude told the story, the whole time about how him and his wife were. I can't remember the story because I stopped listening. I was like, when is this? Jesus. I'm sorry. No, he was talking about how him and his wife were newly engaged and they were going on their way to their honeymoon, and like all these things started to go wrong. She got sick, and he got sick, and all these different things were going wrong. And then basically that all summed up to like, you have to stay, like, God will put things in your path, but you have to learn to have patience and calm and things like that. But I was like, okay, you spent like a half an hour telling the story, and it was just weird to me. I was just sitting there, and like the whole congregation was cracking. I felt like I was in a comedy show, like, cause he would be like, and then she was good, and all of a sudden I turn and she's throwing up, and all this like, and everyone's all like, haha, and I'm just over here like,
Very like story focused.
yeah, and I was just like, I'm like, I didn't like it. And it's all about people's taste, and obviously if you go to that church, you like that sort of stuff. You like certain stuff. I'm like, I think our pastor does a very good job with telling a quick story, but it's mainly focused on the Bible.
The
Like
passage
like it will be like maybe 2 minutes of story.
His story will be more of a tangent than rather than the whole focus
Yeah,
of the story.
and that's, I personally think places like that and youth groups like that, where you don't know the word, you'll fall away. Because you don't know. Like at the end of the day, when you are struggling, you're going to be like, oh, what did that pastor say? Oh yeah, he was talking about his honeymoon, but what was the passage? You know what I mean? Like it's going to be hard for you to be like, okay, I need to find this in the Bible. When you can use a Bible story. You know, I mean, there's 52 books, 50-something books in the Bible, and you had to tell your own story.
Yeah.
You had to tell, you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Like you could have told a story that was in the Bible. There's many of them. Where they deal with struggle and something happens like that. So that's why I was like, but he wanted to keep them entertained and make them laugh, and that's what. It's a new thing these days, and pastors think that that's what brings people back and keeps people like wanting to come back to the church. And I'm like, okay, they might come back, but they don't understand. I feel like what in the world is happening. So
I think there's like pros and cons to that too, because if you look at it from someone who is new in the church or new in their faith, the gospel is probably very scary to them, you know. And so a story from the pastor's life or whoever's life can be kind of calming or relatable, I guess. But then again, like you said, I don't think the whole service or
Yeah.
sermon should be his
Yeah.
story.
Yeah.
But I think there is like power through like real life stories and having that relate to other people and having that relate to the passage that he's preaching on or whatever. But yeah, I agree. I think the full story
Yeah.
should be the story, but
I can see if it was like a guest speaker or something like that, and he was like the lead pastor speaking. But then the next service, it was like the same type of thing, and I'm like, oh, this is like normal.
yeah.
Like, so that's why I was like, oh, it's not for me. I mean, like, if it works for people, that's cool.
Yeah,
Praise the
yeah.
Lord. But like, that's just not me. Like, I need to understand what is happening in the Bible.
Yeah.
Like,
Definitely.
I need to like, okay, where did you get that passage from? Because I don't know what you're talking about. Like,
I know what you're talking
yeah, I'm a nerd like that. I like to get it like physically and be able to see it. So, I think, yeah, when you have that, I think kids will want to stay in the faith when you answer hard questions too. I think some youth groups are afraid to talk about the hard stuff, like, what, do we hate the gays or things like that? Like, they shy away from that. When we need to talk about it at a young age, so they're confident in why they believe in things.
Yeah.
So you go to college and you got all these professors who are like super liberal and philosophical and ask all these questions and
Big
try to get your
questions.
mind going. Like,
Yeah.
I never forget that. I think I told you I had that happen to me my freshman year in college. Like, she asked the question. All right. If you walk out that door and God told you that you're gonna go left, can you go right? Because you have free will. And then I was like, yeah, we have free will. And she was like, no, because God will be wrong if you went right. And God's never wrong, right? And I was like, okay, you right.
That doesn't make sense to me though.
Now that I know what I know now, when I was there, my mind was blown, and I was like, and I was just
Oh,
fighting.
yeah.
I was just fighting. I was like,
No.
I don't know, but I know God is my savior. Okay,
Yeah.
I don't know. She was. You could tell she. It was like a mythological class. Mythological.
It was a mythology class.
It was about all the different gods and goddesses type class, so you could tell she was like way out there. Yeah, yeah. So she was like, right off the bat, she asked who was Christian, and I was like,
Yeah.
okay. And there was a few other people raising their hand, but I knew some people when they were Christian, they didn't raise their hand. I was like, go ahead, come at me. I might not know the answer, but I'm gonna fight.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, that's all. I mean, that was pretty good. I mean, her first time on, so
Yeah, I
she was
know.
all nervous, so she did so good. But
What can I say?
I guess I hope you got some information out of this. We gave some helpful things for you to use, like surrounding yourself with people that think like you and friends like you, and not being afraid to get those friends and then go do something. Hold each other accountable so you're able to stay in the faith. Because when you're out on your own, no matter how old you are, you can be however old you are, and it's still hard to keep your faith sometimes, just because you are on your own and you are older and no one's holding you accountable for things. So whether that's your partner or your friends or your siblings, find someone to hold you accountable to help you stay in your faith. I think that is the best route for you. So that's it on Living Limitless. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe if you're not subscribed. Click the subscription button for us. That would be super good. And then hit that thumbs up button. That would be cool as well. Did y'all hear that?
Yeah, it was.
The fireworks.
Armageddon!
Yeah, no.
Confess your sins! Alright, we're out of here, guys. See you guys next time.